Hi, my name is Ron Perry, and you're watching a video short of a model I built for the Model Railroads and Structures show or for one of my clients. Please enjoy. Now that the walls are glued together, we gotta put these strips that cover the joints in the wall. As usual, I'm using the CA glue to glue these covers on so that they dry quickly and I can move on to the next step. This is another reason why we left the acetate off the windows earlier, so that we can, do all these crazy glue sections and make sure that the CA dries fully before we start putting on the glazings, so that they don't get that hazy white film from the CA while it's drying. There we got the bottom of the cover strips. Don't have the cinder blocks painted, so we gotta add some paint to those and get those uniform in color. Again, I'm using a paint that I got from Lowe's. This is house paint. It's really thick stuff. You'll notice a lot of people say that you gotta use a thin micro or scale coat paint or whatever the brand is these days, but on these buildings you don't need to use paints that are necessary for plastic models or your rolling stock or engines and stuff like that. On a wood model, this kind of paint works great. There's nothing. There's no problem at all with it. When it dries, all the profile of the etched lines and the brick and such are, they're safe. They're not going to be filled in by a thick paint like this. I'm just using acrylic home paint. I forget the brand. Does it really matter? It doesn't to me. Next, I'm going to deviate away from the instructions and put a company name on the side of the building. I first want to put a black strip so that I have I can paint the name of the company on top of the black. It's just a common practice you can see in old cities across the United States and Canada. So what I'm basically doing is using some old file folders that I can cut up and use to mask the areas where I don't want the black paint, and because I'm going to be using spray paint to make this black strip. I'm using masking tape to fix the file folders to the structure just so that it's secure. I'm going to bring this outside and spray paint it. I don't want any wind, if it's a windy day, to blow them around. I want to have everything nice and secure. The file folders are protecting the building, and the tape really is making the final line where the black paint is going to go on the building. I went outside and painted this and came back quick. No reason to reset the camera up to show you how I painted it. I just painted a quick stripe across, removing the masking. We see that the wall is nicely painted in the black stripe. Now, if your paint ran underneath your tape and mucked up your wall a little bit, just have your oxide red paint and use a brush and touch it up on the brick wall. It'll fix up fine. Don't worry about the little things when these things happen. It's no big deal to come back and touch up the red brick. Very easy to touch up these black sections. So I model in the modern era, in 1990s to be specific, and many of our buildings and stuff like that are tagged with graffiti, and I want to put some graffiti decals on this kit, so I contacted a company called T2 Decals, my parent company being Moon Sugar Decals, and they're very easy to add. You can stick them in some water, as you can see here. Wait till they curl up. What you want to do is you want to have the backing paper to get soaked in so that the water slips in between the decal paper and the paper sheet in behind. Once it curls up and then goes flat again, you'll see that it is very easy to slip the decals off of the paper itself. Once you have the decals unseated off the paper, you can use your favorite tool to hold down the decal on one side and then slip the paper out from behind it. I next use Walther's brand Solvaset decal setting solution, part number 904-470s, and that stuff it makes the decals sit into the etched grooves of the wall. After allowing the Solvaset to dry a little bit, I added another decal from the T2 decals. Next, I don't want to hand paint the name of the building on the sign. I want to have a nice little template to easily paint the lettering onto the building with the font that, an old font. So I'm going to use my Cricut to cut the lettering out of this file folder I have. I don't throw out anything, and these old file folders aren't going to be used for much anymore because everything's digital now these days. So the Cricut is basically a printer with a die cutter on it, and it cuts the letters out of the medium that you put into it. While that's happening, I'm weathering the building, and this building is from the steam era, so it has some real heavy soot because this side of the building is along the tracks. So where the steam engine stops at the building, you'll find a lot of real sooty black on the side of the walls. And this is still wet at the point of taking the video, so it looks a lot darker than it'll actually look in the end. And even if it is way too dark, I can come back with my red paint, with my oxide paint, and touch it up if I want. But I don't really want to, so we're just finishing up this masking, or the template here, and I pay homage to my friend Edward Traxler in the name of the building. Traxler, Electric and Transformer, I believe it is. Building. Now the blue pad that you put the file folder on is sticky, so it pulls most of the letters off. I just have to clean up a few of the letters in the template here, and cut them off and place them on the building as such. Next, I use a small brush to trace the outside with a dabbing motion of the template, just to get the lettering in there nice so it doesn't creep underneath the template itself. That's kind of important, but if you break outside the lines and it creeps, just use your black paint, some black paint, to fix it up. Now, I don't need to tell you how to put the rest of the building together. It's just a bunch of back pieces and such. Paint them black or a darkened color and put them together and, just put it on the layout. I'm using some nice scenery pieces that I've got from Martin Welberg, and they really are some of the best scenery products that I've ever seen. So check out Martin's stuff on Facebook. I don't know if he's got a website. I've heard that some establishments are going to start selling his products in North America, but you can contact him over Facebook. Now, this building isn't finished yet. There's a bunch of roof details that I've got to add, but I'm going to do a review of those roof details on their own. Because even though they come with this kit, they have a kit of their own too that you can buy separately. Thanks for watching today's video short. If you want to watch more model railroading content, check out the rest of my channel. Or watch the Model Railroads and Structures show to see what's going on in the community today.